Hi, this is Kenneth Wong, editor for DE. With some promising vaccines on the horizon, the danger of the pandemic may gradually pass. We have also seen signs that many engineers and manufacturers have figured out a more efficient way to work during the past year, leveraging remote working protocols and powerful hardware to stay connected. So, even as social distancing may soon relax, adoption of remote workflows may accelerate. If you're an engineer who routinely works in CAD, simulation, and rendering applications, how do you get the horsepower you need while working away from your office? Here is BOXX with a solution in their own words.
Given this current situation, the need for remote computing is much, much more prevalent than it has been in the previous times. But how do you get the same amount of performance as being in the office when you're remote? Well, here's the answer. This is Flex. The Flex allows you to get the power and strength of your workstation in a data center environment. So you can access remotely, you can access it in the office, whatever. Point being, you now are able to work remote without any loss in performance whatsoever. Now that's a big deal. Now that we've introduced the concept of Flex and what it means to your remote work environment, let's take a look at some of the physical characteristics of just what Flex is. Well, Flex is a 5U rack mountable solution that basically allows you to expand and add different modules for different technologies. What I'm talking about is most server blades are done horizontally. What we've done is we've turned things on its side. So now these are mounted vertically. And we divide them up into what are called vertical units, or VUs. So for example, on this system right here, you have a 1 VU and you have a 2 VU. Now, depending on what technology you want to put inside of it and your workflow, these can change. That's the beautiful part. You're not locked into any one form factor or design. These all share a common power backplane, so you can switch and swap nodules without ever having to take down any system other than the one you're changing. Very unique, very innovative form factor. We can talk more about details about what these modules actually are in a moment. But I just want to make sure that you understand this is basically taking the workstation from the desk side, turning it on its side, and stuffing it into this chassis. It's something that's unprecedented out in the world today. Now that we've talked about the Flex chassis, let's go a little bit more detailed into why it is the way it is. We introduced this concept called scaling out, which basically means that by adding lower cost, higher performing systems, we can actually increase the performance per user. The software cost isn't going to change because most of the software is done on a per user basis. So therefore, by adding more lower cost hardware, we're going to actually increase productivity in the long run. Now about performance, because we're basically taking a desk side workstation and moving it into the data center, there is a negligible drop in performance. It's still an overclocked Core i9 to 5 gigahertz, it's still liquid cooled. So you're not sacrificing any performance by changing to a scale out philosophy versus just getting bigger and beefier systems. Okay, now let's take a look at the actual physical chassis of the Flex, and I'm going to show you with one hand just how easy it is to remove one of these modules. And bingo, there you go. This is an entire S3-like workstation in one module. Notice that the rest of these modules are not affected by anything I do to this one module. This is an entire self-contained workstation with liquid cooling and a GPU. Now let's take a look at what it looks like on the inside real quick. I've actually removed one of the 1VU modules here. This one is the S1G, and I've taken the liberty of removing the lid so you can actually take a look inside and see what this is. You're familiar with our world-class performing Apex S3 workstation. Well, this is the exact same thing. You'll notice here, this is a Core i7 overclocked to 5 gigahertz across all 8 cores. You've got your radiator here with the airflow coming in to cool it. And then back here you have a full-size NVIDIA Quadro RTX GPU. So you have all the power that you need in this one nice little small 1VU form factor. And you can actually have 10 of these guys into one rack. So all of a sudden your server density or your rack density becomes 0.5 rather than just 1.0, and that's pretty darn good. I spoke before about the chassis and the common power backplane. So here's the connector right here. This is the only common thing that's shared across all of the nodes. Now, for those of you with specialized network needs, if you look down here, this is where the network modules can be. So we can put in, if you have an IPMI back channel, if you have 1 gigabit Ethernet, 10 gigabit Ethernet, 25 gigabit Ethernet, you're not locked into any one specific technology. That's hence the name Flex. It is very flexible. Whether you're an architect, an animator, product designer, whatever kind of content creation you have, we have a Flex module purpose-built for your workflow.